Let's discuss how Logic App handles templates. With anything we do, we want to be sure we're at least asking ourselves if this can be completed by using some sort of infrastructure as code, or IAC. With Logic Apps, this is no different. We have the ability to create a Logic App and then export it to a custom template. It will include not only the steps to create the Logic App, but also any parameters that we define. This is essentially the same way that Microsoft provides all the built-in templates we saw when we created our Logic App. When we first create a custom template, we are essentially creating an ARM template. I know this may not be surprising, but in case it hasn't clicked yet, the more you work with Azure, it becomes immensely helpful to understand ARM. Logic Apps, again, is no exception. We can create these templates using Visual Studio or PowerShell. Unfortunately, Visual Studio Code doesn't work for this. You will need to use the Community Edition or higher of Visual Studio. Here's an example of taking our Skylines Logic App and creating a template from it and then outputting it to our current directory. We're defining a parameters hash table where it's looking at the Logic App called Skylines Logic App and the resource group Skylines, and then it's taking that and passing it to the Get Logic App template commandlet, and then taking the output of that and then saving it to the Skylines Logic App.json in the current directory. So again, it's basically taking the information about our Logic App, creating a template from it, and then outputting it to a file. Once we have our custom template created, we can deploy it using any tool that supports ARM templates. This can include Azure PowerShell or CLI, Azure DevOps, using Visual Studio, or directly within the portal. Here's an example of how we would do it using Azure CLI. You can see here we're taking the command azgroup deployment create to create a new ARM deployment. We are then deploying it to the Skylines resource group and using the template file that we just exported from the previous slide. This covers how we would create and then deploy custom Logic App templates within Azure.